The stars shone brightly against the darkness of space as the human exploration vessel Horizon drifted through the unknown region. Captain Daho Kim stood on the bridge, his eyes fixed on the main screen. "Sir, there's something out there," said the sensor operator. "It's big, and it's moving toward us." Daho nodded calmly. "Show me." The screen changed to show a massive ship, unlike anything humans had ever built. Its surface gleamed with a metal that seemed to change colors as it moved. "Open all channels," ordered Daho. "This is Captain Daho Kim of the Earth vessel Horizon *. We come in peace." For several long moments, there was only silence. Then a voice responded, speaking perfect English. "Earth vessel, this is the Concordat scout ship * Eternal Harmony *. We welcome you to the galactic community." And just like that, humanity was no longer alone in the universe. 3 days later, Daho sat across from HFY, the alien diplomat from the galactic Concordat. HFY had 4 arms and skin that shifted colors like the hull of their ship. Their large eyes blinked sideways. "Your species has developed quite rapidly," said HFY. "Most take much longer to achieve space travel." "We are curious by nature," replied Daho. "We have always looked to the stars." HFY's skin rippled with blue patterns. "Yes, curiosity. And something else, perhaps." In the medical bay of the Eternal Harmony *, Concordat scientists were conducting tests on the human volunteers. Dr. Soo-Jin Park watched as they scanned her brain. "Fascinating," muttered the alien doctor, Zevtal. "Your neural patterns are unusual." "Is something wrong?" asked Soo-Jin. No, said Zevtal quickly. "Just different from what we typically see." But Soo-Jin noticed how the alien's hands trembled slightly. On the command deck of the Eternal Harmony *, Intelligence Officer Tralmek reviewed the human medical data with growing concern. "Look at these readings," he said to Ship Commander Keldor. "Their muscle density, reaction times, neural processing. It matches the ancient patterns." Keldor's color darkened. "You cannot mean." "I do," said Tralmek. "They share similarities with the war species of old, the ones from the legends." "That's impossible," said Keldor. "The war species died out 50,000 years ago." "Or perhaps they just went dormant," suggested Tralmek. "We must monitor these humans closely." Back on the Horizon *, Daho met with his crew. "They've invited Earth to join something called the Galactic Concordat," he explained, "a union of over 300 intelligent species." "Do you trust them?" asked Security Chief Ta Min Lee. "They seem peaceful," replied Daho. "But I sense they're hiding something. They keep studying us like we're puzzles they can't solve." Tai Min nodded. "I've noticed their guards watching me during training exercises. They seemed afraid." "Afraid? Of us?" Engineer Ji Woo Park laughed. "They have ships that can bend space. What could they possibly fear from humans?" In his private quarters, HFY composed a message to the Concordat High Council. "First contact with humanity successful. They appear cooperative and eager to join the galactic community. However, preliminary tests confirm our fears. They show the markers of the ancient war gods, high resilience, quick adaptability, and most concerning, the dormant combat neural pathways." HFY paused, considering his next words carefully. "I recommend acceptance of humanity into the Concordat, but with careful monitoring. If they truly are descendants of the war gods, we must ensure their violent tendencies remain dormant. For now, they seem unaware of their heritage or true potential. Let us hope they never discover what sleeps in their blood." The message was encrypted and sent across the stars, where the Concordat High Council would soon debate the fate of humanity and whether these newcomers represented a new age of cooperation or the return of the most feared warriors the galaxy had ever known. 5 years had passed since first contact. The gleaming human embassy stood tall on the Concordat capital world of Nexus Prime. Inside, Ambassador Ji Woo Park adjusted her formal suit and prepared for another day of meetings. Another request to limit the number of human visitors to Concordat worlds. She sighed, reading the latest message. Commander Ta Min Lee, her military attaché, frowned. That's the third one this month. They welcome us with one hand and push us away with the other. Ji Woo nodded. They're afraid of something, but they won't say what. Ta Min's eyes narrowed. I'm tired of being treated like children. Last week, they wouldn't let me observe their basic military drills. What are they hiding? Patience, said Ji Woo. We're still new to the galaxy. At the Central Galactic University, Sun He Kang sat in a classroom filled with aliens from across the Concordat. The professor, a tall, thin being named Eklor, was explaining a complex mathematical theory. This equation has puzzled our greatest minds for centuries, said Eklor. No one has found a solution. Sun He studied the formula on the screen. Something about it seemed familiar, like a song she had heard long ago. Without thinking, she raised her hand. Yes, Human Kang, asked Eklor. I think I see a pattern, she said. If you change this part here and connect it to this sequence. The room fell silent as Sun He walked to the front and began writing on the display. Her hands moved quickly, filling the screen with calculations. There, she said finally. The solution. Eklor stared at her work, then checked it with his computer. His eyes widened. This is correct, he said slowly. How did you see this? Sun He shrugged. It just made sense to me. Later, in the empty hallway, Sun He overheard Eklor speaking with another professor. Just like the old stories, Eklor whispered. The war gods could see patterns in chaos. It's in their blood. Sha, hissed the other professor. We don't use that name. In the ancient historical archives, Vextar, the Concordat's chief historian, studied records that few had access to. The old text spoke of a time when terror ruled the stars. Comparing human DNA samples to recovered war god artifacts, he muttered, typing notes. Match rate, 97.3%. A soft chime interrupted his work. Come in, he called. The doors slid open, revealing Supreme Commander XL Thorin of the Concordat Security Council. Your report was disturbing, said XL Thorin. Vextar nodded. The evidence is clear. Humans are descendants of the war gods. Somehow, they survived on their isolated planet, their violent nature dampened but not erased. If they learn what they truly are, began XL Thorin, they might become what the galaxy once feared most, finished Vextar. Back on Earth, in the newly built Concordat embassy, alien diplomat Sinlara met with human officials. The meeting room was bright and filled with plants from both worlds. We are pleased to invite 50 more human students to attend our universities, said Zinlara. That's wonderful news, replied Human Director Bo Young Kim. Our people are eager to learn. Yes, said Zinlara with a polite smile. We are also eager to learn more about you. After the humans left, Zinlara's assistant approached. All the students will be closely monitored, as ordered. Good, said Zinlara. Find out how they think, how they solve problems, how they fight. The council needs to know if the war instinct can be awakened, and if it can. Zinlara's expression darkened. Then we must decide if humanity is a threat that needs to be eliminated before they remember what they once were. That night, Commander Ta Min Lee couldn't sleep. He stood by the window of his quarters, looking at the alien cities spread out below him. Beautiful and advanced, yet something felt wrong. Why do they watch us so carefully? He whispered to himself. What are they afraid we'll do, or afraid we'll become? In the darkness of space, ancient machines that had been silent for 50,000 years began to stir, sending weak signals across the void. Signals that only sleeping warriors would recognize. The galaxy was about to remember why it once feared the war gods. The Grand Hall of Unity on Nexus Prime was filled with beings from across the galaxy. Crystal chandeliers hung from the high ceiling, casting rainbow lights over the guests. Today marked the 7th anniversary of humanity joining the Galactic Concordat. Ambassador Jiwoo Park smiled as she raised her glass. "To friendship among the stars," she said. The aliens around her repeated the toast. Jiwoo felt proud. After years of work, humans were finally being accepted. Commander Ta Min Lee stood nearby with his security team. His eyes constantly scanned the room. Something felt wrong today. The hairs on the back of his neck stood up, a feeling he had learned to trust during his military career. "Stay alert," he whispered to his team. Across the room, a group of Concordat officials watched the humans with nervous eyes. "They seem peaceful enough," said one. "For now," replied another. "But the Purity faction won't allow this to continue." High above the celebration, hidden in the maintenance tunnels, 3 figures moved silently. Their skin was pale blue, marking them as members of the krill species. Each carried a small device. "The Purity faction cannot allow war gods to walk among us again," said the leader, Drav. "The humans must be shown for what they truly are." "The devices are ready," said another. "When they detonate, the sonic pulse will trigger the humans' latent aggression. The entire Concordat will see their true nature." Drav nodded. "For a pure galaxy." Ambassador Jiwoo was speaking with the Concordat High Minister when a sharp pain hit her ears. A high-pitched sound filled the room, inaudible to most aliens, but agonizing to humans. Then came the explosions. 3 blasts shook the hall. Smoke filled the air. Aliens screamed and ran in panic. Jiwoo felt someone push her to the ground. It was Ta Min. "Stay down," he shouted. Through the smoke, figures appeared. The krill terrorists, now armed with energy weapons, began firing into the crowd. "Death to the war gods," they shouted. Jiwoo felt something warm on her arm. Blood. She had been hit. What happened next would change the galaxy forever. Commander Ta Min saw the ambassador's wound, and something shifted in his mind. The world around him seemed to slow down. His vision sharpened. His muscles tensed. Without conscious thought, he moved. The security team reacted the same way. They moved with incredible speed and precision, as if they had trained for this exact scenario their entire lives. Ta Min leaped across the room, covering 15 meters in a single bound. He disarmed the first terrorist with a move no human had ever used before, breaking the alien's arm in 3 places. He spun, using the captured weapon to stun the second attacker. Across the room, the other human security officers moved with the same unnatural speed and strength. Within 17 seconds, all terrorists were neutralized. No civilians were further harmed. The smoke began to clear. The aliens stared at the humans in shock and fear. In the Concordat Security Center, officials watched the hall's security footage in stunned silence. "Did you see how they moved?" whispered one. "No untrained species should be capable of that." "It's like they became different beings," said another. The moment the ambassador was hurt, Supreme Commander Xel Thorin's face was grim. "It's as we feared. The war god instincts still live in them, dormant but ready. This was just a taste of what they can become." "What do we do?" "Call an emergency session of the High Council," ordered Xel Thorin. "The human question must be addressed before it's too late." In the medical center, Jiwoo's wound was being treated. Ta Min sat nearby, staring at his hands. "How did we do that?" he asked quietly. "I've never moved that fast in my life. I've never known those fighting techniques." Jiwoo looked concerned. "The Concordat officials keep looking at us differently now, like they're afraid." "Maybe they should be," said Ta Min, "because I don't know what happened to us in that hall, but it felt natural, like something waking up after a long sleep." Outside the room, Concordat guards now stood at attention, weapons ready. They were no longer there to protect the humans. They were there to protect everyone else from them. Professor Hyun-Woo Choi had never expected to be invited to the Concordat's most prestigious research facility. The white buildings of the Science Academy gleamed under the purple sky of planet Arcadia. Hyun-Woo, a human xenobiologist, felt both honored and nervous. "Welcome, Professor Choi," said Dr. Zelnar, a tall alien with 6 eyes and silver skin. "We are pleased you accepted our invitation to join our evolutionary studies team." "Thank you for the opportunity," replied Hyun-Woo, bowing slightly. Dr. Zelnar led him through shining hallways to a large laboratory filled with advanced equipment. "Your work on Earth species adaptation is fascinating," said Dr. Zelnar. "We hope you can help us understand different evolutionary pathways." But Hyun-Woo soon noticed something odd. Most of the research seemed focused on humans, not on other species. Later that week, Hyun-Woo examined data about planet Earth and compared it to other inhabited worlds. The differences were striking. "This can't be right," he muttered to himself. Earth had higher gravity than 97% of life-bearing planets. Its oxygen levels were unusually high. Radiation from its sun was stronger than most inhabited worlds, and the number of predator species throughout Earth's history was off the charts. Dr. Zelnar appeared beside him, finding something interesting. "Earth seems harsh compared to other planets," said Hyun-Woo. Dr. Zelnar's 6 eyes blinked in sequence. "Indeed, most species in the Concordat evolved on gentle worlds, low gravity, few predators, stable climates. But humans evolved in conditions that would kill most aliens," realized Hyun-Woo. "Precisely," said Dr. Zelnar. "The question is, why?" On another part of Arcadia, Jun-Ho Ri walked through the Concordat Military Academy. As a human analyst attached to the Joint Forces program, he had been invited to observe training exercises. But instead of being shown actual training, he was given carefully controlled tours. Today, he had slipped away from his guide. Jun-Ho found himself in a darkened room where officers watched a large screen. On it, ships fought a space battle. With a shock, Jun-Ho recognized Earth vessels fighting against Concordat ships. "The simulation shows humans would destroy our third fleet within hours," said one officer. "But how? Their technology is primitive compared to ours." "It's not their technology. It's how they use it. They think differently. They see patterns in battle we miss. They take risks we would never consider." Jun-Ho backed away slowly, his heart pounding. The Concordat wasn't preparing to work with humans. They were preparing to fight them. That evening, Hyun-Woo met with Jun-Ho in a quiet garden. Both men spoke in whispers. "They're studying us like we're dangerous animals," said Hyun-Woo. Jun-Ho nodded. "And running battle simulations against Earth. Something big is happening, and we're not being told." "I found something else," said Hyun-Woo. "Earth matches the description of a planet called Fortress in ancient Concordat myths. It was supposedly home to the war gods, beings so powerful they nearly conquered the galaxy. War gods, like some kind of super soldiers. More than that, the legends say they could adapt to any situation, learn any weapon instantly, and fight with unnatural skill." Jun-Ho's eyes widened, like how our security team responded during the terrorist attack. A rustling sound made them both turn. Dr. Zelnar stood nearby, watching them. "I see you've been doing additional research, Professor Choi," said the alien scientist. "Just trying to understand," said Hyun-Woo carefully. Dr. Zelnar moved closer. "Then perhaps it's time you understood everything. The Concordat has hidden the truth for too long." "What truth?" asked Jun-Ho. "About your species, about why you were left alone on Earth for so long, about what you truly are." Dr. Zelnar looked around nervously. "Meet me tonight at the old archive building. There's something you need to see." As the alien walked away, Hyun-Woo and Jun-Ho exchanged worried glances. "Do we trust him?" asked Jun-Ho. "I don't think we have a choice," replied Hyun-Woo. "If we want to know why the Concordat fears us, we need to learn what they're hiding." Behind them, unseen, a security drone recorded their conversation and transmitted it to Concordat Security Command. The old archive building stood at the edge of the science district. Unlike the shiny new structures around it, this one was made of stone and looked ancient. Hyun-woo and Jun-ho approached cautiously in the darkness. "Are you sure we should be doing this?" whispered Jun-ho. "We need answers," replied Hyun-woo. "Our people deserve to know the truth." The heavy door creaked open before they could knock. Dr. Zelnar stood inside, his silver skin reflecting the dim light. "Quickly," he said. "We don't have much time." They followed him down a spiral staircase deep underground. The air grew cold and still. Finally, they reached a round room filled with old data crystals and ancient artifacts. "This archive is forbidden to most Concordat citizens," explained Dr. Zelnar. "It contains the true history of our galaxy." He activated a crystal, and a hologram appeared in the center of the room. It showed mighty warriors, similar to humans but taller and stronger, leading vast armies across the stars. 50,000 years ago, the war gods ruled much of the galaxy, said Dr. Zelnar. They were unmatched in battle, adapting to any weapon, any strategy. Their minds and bodies were designed for conflict. Designed? Asked Hyun-woo. Yes, they were created to fight a terrible enemy. But when that enemy was defeated, the war gods continued to conquer. Many feared they would never stop. The hologram changed to show a blue-green planet. Earth, gasped Jun-ho. Yes, said Dr. Zelnar. Fortress, as it was known then, the homeworld of the war gods. In the Concordat Security Council chamber, Supreme Commander Exel Thorin reviewed the latest reports. Dr. Zelnar has betrayed us, he said to the gathered officials. He is showing the humans the forbidden archives. Why would he do this? Asked one council member. He believes humans have a right to know their heritage, replied Exel Thorin. A dangerous idea. What are your orders, Supreme Commander? Exel Thorin's expression hardened. Implement containment protocol. Prepare the sterilization weapon. If humans truly are descendants of the war gods, we cannot risk them awakening fully. A young diplomat named Min Ji-won was delivering documents to the council chamber when she overheard these words. Her blood ran cold. Sterilization weapon. They were planning to wipe out humanity. Silently, she backed away from the door and ran down the corridor. She had to warn Earth. Back in the archive, Dr. Zelnar showed Hyun-woo and Jun-ho more data crystals. We've compared human DNA to samples preserved from the war gods era, he said. The match is 97.3%. You are their descendants. That's impossible, said Hyun-woo. Humans evolved on Earth from primates. Yes and no, replied Dr. Zelnar. After the final battle, the surviving war gods hit on Earth. They bred with early humans, diluting their genes over thousands of generations. The harsh conditions of Earth further changed them. They lost much of their power, but the core remained dormant in your DNA. The attack at the celebration, said Jun-ho. Our security team moved so fast. Yes, under extreme stress, the old abilities begin to wake up. Dr. Zelnar looked worried. That is why the Concordat fears you. They believe if humans remember what they once were, they will become conquerors again. But we're peaceful, protested Hyun-woo. I know. That is why I'm telling you this. The Concordat plans. The door to the archive burst open. Concordat security forces swarmed in, weapons raised. Dr. Zelnar, you are under arrest for treason, announced the lead officer. As they dragged the scientist away, he called out, Find the records of the Void Swarm. The war gods weren't conquerors, they were protectors. The security forces surrounded Hyun-woo and Jun-ho. You will return to Earth immediately, said the officer, for your own safety. But the look in his eyes told a different story. They weren't being protected. They were being contained. Across the city, Min Jae-wong slipped into a communication center. With shaking hands, she sent an encrypted message to Earth. Danger imminent. Concordat plans attack. War gods awakening. Prepare. She only hoped it would reach Earth in time. Admiral Yoon Gai-han stood in the command center of Earth's orbital defense station. The large screen showed a Concordat ship approaching Earth. It was massive, nearly 3 times the size of Earth's largest vessel. They claimed to be a scientific delegation, said Communications Officer Seo Jun Park. They request permission to enter orbit. Admiral Han's face was grim. 3 days ago, they had received Minju's warning message. Since then, Earth had been preparing quietly. Let them come, ordered Han. But have the Defiance ready. The Defiance was Earth's newest ship, built with technology learned from the Concordat. It was commanded by Captain Soo-Jin Kang, one of Earth's best officers. All stations on alert, Han told his staff. If they truly come in peace, we'll welcome them. If not, he didn't need to finish. Everyone understood. On the Concordat vessel Harmony's Light Commander Vexilov stood on the bridge. Hidden deep in the ship was the sterilization weapon. Once deployed, it would spread through Earth's atmosphere. No one would die, but humans would lose the ability to have children. Within a century, humanity would be gone. Earth has granted permission to enter orbit, reported his officer. Excellent, said Vexilov. They suspect nothing. But as they approached Earth, sensors detected something unexpected. Commander, there's a ship following us, said the sensor operator. It's human. Vexilov frowned. Put it on screen. The image showed a sleek vessel, smaller than his own but clearly armed. That's impossible, he whispered. Humans don't have ships with that level of technology yet. But the evidence was right before his eyes. Captain Soo-Jin Kang sat calmly in the command chair of the Defiance. Her crew was nervous but ready. Stay close to them, she ordered. Let them know we're watching. The communications officer called out. Incoming message from the Concordat ship, Captain. On screen, said Soo-Jin. Commander Vexilov's face appeared. He tried to hide his surprise at seeing a human commanding such an advanced vessel. Captain Kang, he said smoothly, your ship is quite impressive. I wasn't aware Earth had developed such technology. There's a lot you don't know about us, Commander, replied Soo-Jin. Just as there's a lot you haven't told us, like why you're carrying a weapon designed to make humans sterile. Vexilov's face showed shock before he could control it. I don't know what you mean. We know everything, Commander, about the war gods, about what you think we are, and about what you plan to do to us. In Earth's Defense Command Center, Admiral Han received an urgent message from historian Do-hyun Park. Admiral, I've been studying the data from Minji and the reports from Hyunwoo, said Do-hyun. The war gods weren't conquerors. They were defenders against something called the Void Swarm. What is the Void Swarm? Asked Han. An ancient enemy that consumed entire worlds. The war gods were created to fight them. The Concordat only remembers part of the story. They forgot why the war gods fought in the first place. Han's eyes widened. So we're not descended from conquerors. No, sir. We're descended from protectors. And if the legends are true, the Void Swarm might return someday. On the bridge of the Harmony's Light Vexilov was growing angry. You don't understand, he said to Captain Kang. Your kind nearly destroyed the galaxy once before. We cannot risk it happening again. We are not the war gods, said Soo-Jin firmly. We are humans. We choose our own path. Suddenly, alarms blared on both ships. A sensor operator on the Defiance shouted, Captain, multiple unknown objects detected at the edge of our solar system. The screen showed strange, dark shapes moving toward Earth. They resembled no ships either human or Concordat had ever seen. What are they? Demanded Vexilov. Soo-Jin remembered the stories Hyunwoo had shared. I think, she said slowly, that they are the reason the war gods existed in the first place. As they watched, The first dark ship fired on a Concordat outpost near Pluto. The station disappeared in a flash of light. "The Void Swarm has returned," whispered Sujin. Across the galaxy, ancient beacons suddenly lit up. They had been silent for 50,000 years, placed on countless worlds by the war gods as an early warning system. Now they all broadcast the same message. They have returned. On the Concordat capital world, the High Council gathered in emergency session. The room was filled with fear. "The Void Swarm has already destroyed 3 outer colonies," reported a shaking official. "Nothing stops them. They consume everything in their path." Supreme Commander Exel Foran looked pale. "The ancient texts speak of this enemy. They are a hive mind that feeds on life energy. They nearly destroyed all civilization before. How were they defeated last time?" asked a council member. Zelforan's voice was barely audible. "By the war gods." On Earth, Admiral Han had called an emergency meeting with the Concordat representatives. Commander Vexelov's sterilization mission was forgotten as a greater threat loomed. "Our ships have engaged the Void Swarm near Jupiter," reported Admiral Han. "They've had little effect. Conventional weapons barely damaged them." Vexelov nodded grimly. "It's the same in our outer colonies. The Void Swarm absorbs energy weapons and repairs any physical damage almost instantly." "Then how do we fight them?" asked Captain Sujin. An unexpected voice answered. "Together." It was Supreme Commander Exel Foran, joining via hologram. "I was wrong about humans. We all were. We remembered you as conquerors, but forgot why you fought." "The war gods were created to fight the Void Swarm," said Admiral Han. "Yes," admitted Exel Foran. "And now we need you again." 3 days later, a combined fleet of human and Concordat ships faced the Void Swarm near Saturn. The dark, shapeless vessels of the enemy moved with strange patterns, like a school of fish. "All ships in position," reported Jun-Ho Ri, now serving as tactical officer on the Defiance *. Admiral Han stood on the command deck of Earth's largest ship, the Guardian *. Next to him was Jae-Yun Kim, Earth's top military strategist. "Something's wrong," said Jae-Yun, studying the enemy formations. "Their movements seem familiar somehow." Han looked at her. "Familiar how?" "I don't know. It's like I'd fought them before." She shook her head. "That's impossible, of course." But it wasn't impossible. Throughout the human fleet, officers and crew were experiencing the same sensation. Ancient memories, buried deep in their DNA, were beginning to surface. The battle began badly. The Void Swarm moved with perfect coordination, surrounding Concordat ships and tearing them apart. The aliens had evolved as peaceful species and lacked the instincts for warfare. "Concordat Vessel 12 is surrounded," called out Jun-Ho. Without hesitation, Captain Sujin ordered, "Move to intercept. All weapons ready." The Defiance shot forward, executing a complex maneuver that seemed to come to Sujin naturally. Her fingers flew over the controls with unnatural speed. "Where did you learn that tactic?" asked her first officer in amazement. "I don't know," she replied honestly. "I just knew it would work." Throughout the human fleet, similar transformations were happening. Pilots performed impossible maneuvers. Tactical officers predicted enemy movements with perfect accuracy. Engineers modified weapons systems on the fly, making them more effective against the swarm. The dormant war instincts were awakening. On the Concordat command ship, Exel Foran watched in awe. "It's like the ancient records described," he told his officers. "The war gods could adapt to any enemy, learning and evolving during battle itself." "Will it be enough?" asked Danaid. "I don't know," admitted Exel Foran. "The Void Swarm is stronger than before, and the humans are not fully awakened." As the battle raged, Admiral Han received an urgent call from Earth. It was Kyun Woo Choi. "Admiral, I've been studying the war god archives that the Concordat shared with us. The Void Swarm emits a specific frequency when it attacks. That same frequency is what triggers the dormant abilities in our DNA. Han's eyes widened. You mean? Yes, said Hyunwoo. The more we fight them, the more we become like our ancestors. The war gods built this into our genetics, a failsafe to ensure we could defend the galaxy if the swarm ever returned. As if to prove his point, throughout the fleet, humans began to change. Their reflexes quickened. Their minds processed information faster. Ancient knowledge of battle tactics and weapons began to surface. The war gods were returning, not as conquerors, but as the galaxy's last hope. 1 month into the war with the Void Swarm, the combined human and Concordat fleet had managed to slow the enemy's advance, but not stop it. 3 more Concordat worlds had fallen. The dark ships seemed endless. On the Defiance Captain Su Jin Kang had not slept in 3 days, yet she felt more alert than ever. Her crew showed similar changes. They moved faster, fought quicker, and needed less rest. Their bodies were changing. Captain, you should see this, said her medical officer, showing her a scan of her own brain. Your neural pathways have restructured. You're using parts of your brain humans never use. Su Jin nodded. She had felt the changes. Sometimes, when she closed her eyes, she saw battles from long ago. Memories that weren't hers, yet somehow were. It's happening to all humans in the fleet, the doctor continued. The more we fight the swarm, the more we evolve. On Earth, Sun Hee Kang worked day and night in a special research center. As a mathematician, she had been tasked with understanding the Void Swarm's movement patterns. But lately, the equations seemed to solve themselves in her mind. I can see it now, she told Admiral Han during a video call. The swarm moves like a single organism because it is one. There's a central intelligence directing everything. Can we target it? Asked Han. Not yet, said Sun Hee, but I'm getting closer to finding its location. It's hiding somewhere in the galaxy core. Admiral Han looked impressed. How did you figure this out? Sun Hee smiled sadly. I don't know. The knowledge just came to me, like I've fought them before. Young Lieutenant Jin Ho-yoon stood before Admiral Han and the Concordat High Command. At 25, he was the youngest officer ever to address such a group. We need to recover the ancient war god technology, Jin Ho explained. Our regular weapons aren't effective enough against the swarm. And how do you propose to do that? Asked XL Thorin. The war god homeworld was lost millennia ago. Jin Ho activated a hologram showing the star map. Not lost. Hidden. And I know where it is. The room fell silent. How? Someone finally asked. Jin Ho touched his temple. I remember it. We all do, deep down. The knowledge is in our DNA, waiting to be accessed. 2 days later, Jin Ho led a small team on the fastest ship in the human fleet. Their mission: enter Void Swarm territory and find the ancient war god fortress world. The team included Hyunwoo Choi and Jun Ho Ri. As they approached the coordinates Jin Ho had provided, a massive space station appeared. It was built into an asteroid, hidden from sensors by technology far beyond anything the Concordat possessed. It's still operational, whispered Jun Ho in awe as lights activated on the station's surface. Their ship docked automatically. Inside, ancient systems hummed to life after 50,000 years of sleep. The air was still breathable. How is this possible? Asked Hyunwoo. The war gods built things to last, replied Jin Ho. They knew the swarm might return someday. In the center of the station, they found what they were looking for, a large chamber filled with technology and data crystals. And something else. A message, left by the last war gods. A hologram activated, showing a being that looked almost human, but taller and stronger. If you are seeing this, said the ancient warrior, then you are our descendants, and the Void Swarm has returned. You were created for this moment. The 3 humans watched in silence as the hologram explained the truth. Humans weren't natural beings who happened to evolve on Earth. They were engineered, created specifically to fight the Void Swarm. We built the war instinct into your very cells, continued the hologram. But we also gave you compassion, creativity, and free will, things the original war gods lacked. You are our improved version, designed not just to fight, but to protect. The hologram showed schematics for weapons, ships, and armor, technology that could turn the tide against the swarm. This is what you are, concluded the ancient warrior, not conquerors, but guardians, the last hope against the darkness that consumes all life. As the message ended, Jin Ho felt something unlock in his mind. Knowledge flooded in, how to build the weapons, how to fight the swarm, how to find their central intelligence. I understand now, he said quietly. I know how to defeat them. The massive fleet gathered near the galaxy's center, the largest force ever assembled in the history of the Concordat. Ships from every world stood together. But at the front were the human vessels, now rebuilt with ancient war god technology. Admiral Yoon Gai-han stood on the bridge of the flagship Guardian *, watching as final preparations were made. The ship hummed with power from systems that hadn't been used in 50,000 years. All ships report ready, Admiral, said Communications Officer Seo Jun Park. Han nodded. And our special team. Captain Da Yun Cho and Commander Ta Min Lee are aboard the Swift Strike and ready for their mission. This was humanity's greatest gamble. While the main fleet engaged the Void Swarm, a small, fast ship would deliver a strike team directly to the swarm's neural nexus, its brain. Only by destroying that could they end the war. Open a channel to all ships, ordered Han. When the connection was made, he spoke clearly. Today we fight not just for Earth or the Concordat, but for all life in the galaxy. Today we fulfill the purpose we were created for. Today we become the guardians we were meant to be. Captain Da Yun Cho sat in the pilot's seat of the Swift Strike the smallest and fastest ship in the fleet. Her hands moved over the controls with supernatural speed and precision. Beside her, Commander Ta Min Lee checked his team's equipment one last time. The path to the Nexus will only open for 90 seconds once the main battle begins, Da Yun reminded them. We'll have one chance, no more. Tai Min nodded. We'll be ready. Their plan relied on Da Yun performing a maneuver thought impossible, flying through the swarm's defenses while they were momentarily disrupted by the main fleet's attack. Only a pilot with fully awakened war god reflexes could hope to succeed. Main fleet is engaging, reported the communications officer. Da Yun's eyes narrowed. Prepare for jump. The battle erupted with stunning violence. The Void Swarm had gathered its full strength, thousands of dark ships moving as one organism. But the human-led fleet fought with perfect coordination. Supreme Commander Exel Foran watched in awe from his command ship. They fight as if they share one mind, he said to his officers, just like the legends described. A Concordat science officer nodded. Their brainwave patterns have synchronized. They're operating on a level we can't comprehend. In the heart of the battle, Sun He Kang's calculations guided the fleet's movements. She had developed a mathematical model that predicted the swarm's reactions with perfect accuracy. Pattern shift coming in 30 seconds, she announced. All ships prepare. The fleet moved in perfect harmony, creating the brief opening they needed. Now, shouted Admiral Han. Da Yun saw the gap appear and pushed her ship to impossible speeds. The Swift Strike twisted and turned through the chaos of battle, avoiding enemy fire by margins measured in centimeters. That's not possible, whispered a Concordat observer watching from afar. But for Da Yun, whose war god abilities had fully awakened, time seemed to move slowly. She could see paths through the battle that no normal human could perceive. We're through, she announced as they passed the final line of swarm defenses. Before them floated a massive structure, the swarm's neural nexus. It pulsed with dark energy. Docking now, said Da Yun. Good luck. Tang Min led his team into the heart of the enemy. Each soldier moved with precision honed by their awakened genetics. They planted the special weapon Jin Ho had designed using ancient war god technology, a device that would disrupt the swarm's hive mind permanently. "Device activated," reported Ta Min. "We have 5 minutes to clear the area." The explosion wasn't visible, but its effect was immediate. Throughout the battlefield, the Void Swarm ships suddenly lost coordination. They drifted aimlessly or crashed into each other. "They did it," breathed Admiral Han. "The Nexus is destroyed." A cheer went up throughout the fleet as the Swift Strike emerged safely from the collapsing swarm. 3 months later, Ambassador Jiwoo Park stood before the reformed Galactic Council in the new capital. Representatives from every world, including Earth, gathered to formalize the new alliance. "The war is over," she said, "but our duty remains. We now understand what we are and why we exist. Humanity accepts its role as guardians of the galaxy, not through conquest, but through protection." Supreme Commander Telforin, now the Concordats' leader, stepped forward. "For too long we feared what humanity might become. We didn't understand that you were created not to destroy, but to defend. Today we welcome our protectors back."